that's one of the other big changes since I saw the game last, is that you have cities flipping back to their original ownership on a timer now, as opposed to using game mechanisms to encourage players to do that. Where's the balance there for you?
Well, that was to do with when you have a great design, a good design theory and ideas, they're marvelous on paper, and with benign people round tables, they work tremendously well. But they never survive actual players coming in and messing with them. Like good battle plans never survive the first engagement. And when you say, oh, we'll have this idea of cities, and they'll the other players have to work hard to win them back, you're faced with the problem of what do you do if you get a steamroller effect. They take over the city, and you just can't get rid of them, and you just can't push them out. And so you have to go, well, in that case, we need to put a mechanic in, because what we're actually trying to do is like a good ref. We want to separate the fighters and go and fight. We don't just want one fighter piling into them one way all the time. And so the mechanics that you're talking about are in there to ensure that we can break the teams apart and make them fight again, and everyone can feel like they're having a fairness. You've got to look at just server load and server balance. What do you do if you make a game where one side is horrendously underpopulated? And it's always a risk. We've tried to mitigate those risks by making all our careers interesting across all our races, and by not being afraid of really showing off some of the cool things of the races that were supposedly going to be unpopular. And it seems to be working really well. Our betas so far have pretty much gone out at, I think it's 48-52 is the widest spread between order and destruction. So we've done tremendously well. When we first piled into the green-skinned dwarves, it turned out that with greenskins was huge. It was like 70-30, and then it came back to almost a 50-50 split within about 2 weeks. So far so good, but that's the reason that sort of mechanical thinking comes around, because you're trying to make sure everyone gets a great experience, and you don't just have, might is right, power wins. You should join this side because they're always going to be sieging, they're always going to be winning the cities.
Was that drift from 70-30 to 50-50 a result of balances you guys put into the game, or players just learning how to overcome the tactics that they were seeing on the greenskin side?
Well, another one of the great things we've got here is we've got tons of metrics that run in the background, and we actually, they do all sorts of clever things on metrics, things what I don't understand. But I do know that BioWare came and had a look at them because they were very excited about them, and John Rigatello came and visited them. We were showing them, and he was very, very excited about them. And they monitor all sorts of crazy things. And then we have this room full of mentat savants, and we pour all the data in there, and we effectively say to them, make sure that everything works and is balanced, or we'll kill you. I mean, we've only killed 3, I think, so far. Yeah, not too bad, no. But also players, they're very excitable. And when you first get to our area and you go, well, what are we doing? Well, you go, well, are we just offering cliched fantasy? Well, we're not. But we do have dwarves. So people go, well, maybe I want to be greenskins. They go, do I really want to be a noble savage? And then you work out that our orcs aren't noble savages. They're soccer hooligans, and they're awesome, and they're clever, and they're comedic, and they're fun, and they're great big tusks. Then you realise we've got goblins and squigs, and they're bouncing around, and shamans whose heads explode. And so when the first batch of beta people came in, they piled into the characterful greenskins, because they thought, oh, well, that's clearly where they're going to be differential. And then they looked across the way, and they realised that we had dwarf engineers putting down gun turrets made out of salvaged barrels and laying down clockwork mines and hand grenades. We had hammerers doing knockback and smashing and pummeling people's heads in. And we had flintlock firing. It was great, all this sort of cool stuff. And so very quickly, it balanced into 2, using the scenario system, and so far so good.
Now those were the first 2 races we saw when the game was announced. But they're not in the game right now. They've been taken off to be reworked a little bit. What's going on with that?
Well, what we do is it's sort of like fighting a war. You put them on the front line, let them fight for a bit, and then you take them down and refit them. We put the dwarves in, and the greenskins took a ton of metrics, and they were our first pairing out, and the tech was just getting balanced, stable, and was looking good. We did a lot more interesting work, more development tools when we did Empire Chaos, and really, really knocked it out of the park. We got Empire Chaos down to a T. And again, I had to have a pause and a think. Now, in the old days, we might have been forced in a position where we'd gone, you know what, orcs and dwarves are just going to have to stay the way they are. But in the new EA world, were able to go, you know what, let's go back and really, let's just retrofit them into something cool and awesome. And it brought them up. With all the tricks that you learn. Usually when you go to games, the last bit is the bit that's always the best built, because it's the bit where everyone's got used to stuff. So being able to go back to the greenskins and dwarves and retool it has helped them tremendously. It makes them look a lot more sexy, yet still short and green, with tusks and guns. So yeah, they'll look a lot better.
I know Age of Conan is coming out soon. It's another fantasy-based MMO. It's got a great popular IP. It focuses on sieges. Has a lot in common, it sounds like, at a superficial level with your game. I wonder how much you guys are aware of what they're doing, and has that informed your development of Warhammer?
Wow. I bump into the Funcom guys at shows. They're very, very nice and very accommodating, and they come over to the booths and that. We hang out and we tell European jokes to each other because we get on. They've gone for a very particular style, which I like. I like people picking a style. Basically, mature rating. Blood. A lot of blood. And they've also gone for a different style on the combat. And of course, it's humans. It's Hyboria. It's Conan, which I read as a kid and liked a lot. It's so far removed in concept from what we're doing as a game world. Ours is, goblins, pixies, tentacles, chaos, custard, witch hunters, inquisition, and the crazy over-the-topness, dark humour, dark philosophy of the Warhammer world, whereas theirs is that sort of gritty, Robert E. Howard, mad Conan sweat, men in loincloths sweating.
Who doesn't like that?
I think they've kept to it. They've stuck to their guns. They've retooled it. They've been brave. It's going to be European. It's going to be fun-commy. It's going to be interesting. It's not really impacted the way we've been thinking. We had a vision. Mark gave it to us, and we just went hell for leather on that. But wish them well. As long as we get millions of subscribers who enjoy Warhammer, I'm happy.
When is the game due out?
Ooh, there's a man off camera going, no. I've got no idea. They don't tell me anything like that. They just say, Paul, take more sugar, be enthusiastic. Whenever it is.
What's next for you then? Have you fully committed to coming over to our side, or are you going back to Games Workshop? Or?
Oh, I miss my children terribly. I like the Warhammer world. I like the 40k world. I really like being at Mythic. I found EA to be curious. I like the online space. I'm not really decided at the moment. Get this out of the way first. We'll think about the future then. It'll be something cool that I want to do. Thankfully, I've been blessed the last 10 years of being able to pick things that I like doing that I think are challenging. So if I can somehow manage to do that again, that'd be really cool.
Any parting thoughts?
Sign up for beta. We're not there yet, but we're nearly there. It's going to be cool. Hopefully you'll have less interviews with me and more footage of the game where we can actually show you that I'm not a liar. Come visit us at shows, that's really cool. Do more stuff on IGN, actually Steve's really nice. Enjoy yourself and stay safe.